Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here with 60 and Me. Thanks so much for being here this morning. I hope that you're doing great, having a perfect day and doing something that you love. I am having my morning cup of tea. I just got back from a trip, and you know when you travel, you always pick up little things that you can't find anywhere else. Well, I picked up a package of, it's ginger tea. It's like a powder, and it's you mix it with water, and it's really good. I put a bit of lemon in there as well, so I'm having my gin fresh ginger drink this morning. So feeling good, and I hope that you are too. I wanted to mention that our sponsor for today's show is International Living. International Living is a company that has been doing research for years on great places to retire around the world, and they have ambassadors, people who live on the ground in those places, doing very precise and accurate comparisons and informations on what it's like to live there really. And they put together a global retirement index every year, and they'd love to share it with our 60 and Me community. So if you go up to internationalliving.com/60 and Me, they will send you an email with a link to the Global Retirement Index. They're a great company. I've used their material for some time myself, and I really find it very, very useful. So hopefully you will too. So the chat today is about love. It's the month of love. It's February, and it's whenever you're listening to this, you can relate. It's the year of the month of romance, Valentine's Day. Those moments when you look for love in your life. And it occurred to me that we were having a conversation over on our Patreon 60 and Me community, which, by the way, is a place you might want to consider joining. We have such an amazing group of women there now, and it's kind of a smaller group where you can have a conversation in a more private way, a little more intimate dialogue, and we talk about all kinds of things, about things that are on our mind. But this month we decided was the month of self-love, that there was enough going on in the commercial world to promote love in general, and we would just focus on us, on self-love. So I think I'd like to do the same for 60 and Me this month, and just make this the month of self-love. Patricia Muir was the woman in our Patreon group who came up with this idea, and I want to thank her for it, because it's a great idea, and it's how it should be. I mean, we should try to experience self-love throughout the whole year, but it's a nice thing to remember and remind ourselves of when we're in this month, that hearts and roses and commercials about love are everywhere. Self-love, pretty important. Now, this is really a broad category, though, because self-love really means how you feel about yourself in general. It's how you're feeling about wellness, well-being, just physical health in general, emotional health, and psychological. Do you love the person that you are? Are you having a love affair with yourself? And I think if you kind of look at some of the aspects of how you can bring self-love into your life, that may give you some sort of ideas how to celebrate this January or February 14th if you are by yourself, and maybe it's middle of July you're watching this. But how do you celebrate self-love in your life? Well, one of the first things you can say is the rituals. The little things that you do, the things that you do to make yourself feel comfortable, at ease, at peace with yourself, and adoring you, looking at you and thinking, you are a really cool person. What do you do to remind yourself? Do you have a spa? Do you read a book? Do you, sit, meditate? Do you go to a special place in the world for a trip? Do you go on a cruise? What do you do to celebrate yourself? To make yourself feel good? To get to your happy place? What do you do? So what are some of the rituals? Another thing that's talked about with self-love is finding your people. Finding a community of women or men and women, finding a community that supports you, that makes you feel whole, that makes you feel connected, and makes you feel loved. And what does love mean? Well, children probably can tell me this better than us, but it's all about doing things for each other in a selfless way. It's about being prepared to surrender something that's important to you for someone else. It's about, it's a happiness, of course, but it's about just being connected to an essential nature in you and the person you love. Now, if that person is your husband or your partner or your lover, whatever, that's easy. What you would do for the people you love. I know I would do for my children. I mean, I know we all moms are like this, we get emotional about this, but I would die for my children and for my grandchildren. There's nothing I wouldn't do to help. And that's, maybe that's a shortcoming of mine. Maybe that's something that I need to deal with. But that, for me, that's unconditional love. I love my children and I love my very close friends, regardless of the mistakes they make or the challenges they face. It's just part of love. It's just part, for me, of what love is. So that's it. Having community, having family, having friends, it nurtures self-love. Another thing is to assess kind of what's working for you in your life. What's working and doing it, and what's not working and eliminating it. And so that kind of gets to another point of self-love, which is letting go. When you finally realize that you have got something in your life that's not right for you, that is not working for you, that you let it go. And that shows love for yourself. It shows unconditional love for you and for your whole person, not just one aspect of it. Another thing is downsizing. This may sound a bit strange, but for me, self-love for me is having a simple environment, a simple home, a simple clothing, just things that really simplify my life. And that for me shows that I respect and love just what I am, who I am, and the things that I have. I'm learning to love the things I have rather than want more. And that, I think, is a great aspect of self-love. Another one is one that we've talked about in a recent article about spirituality. And I do think that self-love is also about knowing that there's a love greater than you, that you have something that's bigger, something that you can point to in your heart, you can look up to, look forward to, that's something that is magical in your life. That's spirituality as opposed to perhaps a box of religion. But I think having that sense of spirituality that, there's a connection between you and the world, nature, maybe as far as you go, but wherever it is, it's beautiful. That is, for me, self-love. Another thing is to give up judgment and comparisons. And I really think that this is it's a sign of respect for yourself, I think. I mean, I know a lot of people in their lives, they judge other people because they've got some weakness in themselves. I remember when I worked with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she said this to me once, which is, and I've listened and I've played it back in my mind so many times, which is people often criticize in others the things that they fear most in themselves. And I think that phrase, that statement is so true, that we sometimes judge and blame others for shortcomings in ourselves. And so if we can learn to embrace the shortcomings in ourselves, then we don't have to look to judge others. And I think that for me is part of my self-love routine, that I love myself enough to not be judgmental or critical of others. Yes, of course I have opinions. I have choices that I've made that I hoped others would make, or you can still have those desires, but if you can let go of the emotion and the negativity around it and just accept others as you would want to accept yourself, I think that's really important. So self-love is kind of, is a full-time job because I think that unless you love yourself, everything is filtered in a different light out to the world. But I hope that's been useful. I hope that you have got some sense of how much you love yourself, or do you see some gaps? Do you maybe give too much to others and not enough to yourself? So let's celebrate this time of love. Love yourself, love the people that are important to you, love your community, and love your spiritual point of reference, whatever that might be. So I'm hoping that you're watching this near and around Valentine's Day sometime, so that on that day, if you're by yourself, you're not going to be thinking there's something lacking, because there isn't. You are it. You are the one to love today. Treat yourself well. Go out and do something really special. Buy yourself a little treat, a little indulgence. I've got my salted caramels, but whatever you choose, enjoy it. No guilt, no regrets, no sadness. Just be there with yourself, loving yourself today, or any time that you're watching. Take very, very good care of yourselves, everybody. No, I love you with all my heart. I'm so happy that we're part of a community, walking a road together, walking each other home, as Ram Dass would say. I love that, and I just want to know that I hope that you love yourself too. Have a wonderful day. Take good care, and we'll be back here again soon. Bye bye for now.